Hi, ladies.
Hello.
It's bright.
Can we go? We have with us now from Gonzaga University student athletes Matt Hybens from Hilversum, Netherlands, and Kaylin Trong from Houston, Texas. Open for questions to our student athletes.
This is Brandon Judd from the Desert News. Kaylin, there's just, when you look at the matchup here between Gonzaga and Utah, there's a lot of offensive numbers that are very similar, 3 points, assists, shooting. Just what are kind of some of the keys that you see for tomorrow's game?
Yeah, I think the most important thing probably is just to lock in on defense that might separate us, and then just getting the boards so we can, maybe have more possessions to play offense or something like that. So defense and boards.
Yeah, Henry Kruger, Associated Press. What about Alyssa Keeley makes her so difficult to stop, and how have you guys been thinking about how you're going to game plan for her game?
You want to take this one?
Sure. I think she's very physical. I think she's pretty versatile. She has a range out to three, which makes it harder. You have to guard her all ends of the floor. So I think a big focus on her is really limiting her touches and, limiting her boards. If we're able to do that, that is going to help us tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, she's a really great player. I think we can't hold anyone to zeros, obviously, so we're just going to have to limit, or Coach Lisa said in the locker room, neutralize her somehow. And as a team, I think we'll do okay.
Mike Boyle from Creme Television here in Spokane. Playing here on your home floor, talk about the importance of that, particularly yesterday. You were able to use that momentum of your home floor and get the win. How much is it going to play a factor in the game against Utah?
Well, if people didn't know what a home advantage meant, then they know now, because that was insane. Just out of this world. Never experienced anything like it. I definitely think it helps. The energy is just almost like it like touches you, like it's incredible. So I think it does help. It shows that people want to watch women's sports, and that is just amazing to be a part of. And yeah, I hope for the same atmosphere on Monday.
Cameron McCann, Gonzaga Bulletin. This is for either one of you. You guys found yourself down early last game, and nothing seemed to go right, but then you turned it around. Does that help in a game against Utah where you might find yourself in the wrong end of a run, where you're like, okay, we've been here before, we know how to right the ship, and does that help at all?
I definitely think it does help. This majority of our season, I think we could say that it was in a way challenging, just because we were up in conference so much, and so we were down, I guess, at Pacific, you could say, but then we fought our way back and still won by double digits. And then NCAA, everyone knows it's one and done, so we just have to, learn from the first half and make sure we make adjustments throughout the whole game, not trying to dig ourselves in a deeper hole than we should, and then help each other get out of it.
KSL.com. I know you answered the question about Utah looking very similar to you guys, but is there anything in particular that you guys see on tape that maybe you haven't seen this year, or things that maybe you're focusing on more, knowing that this isn't a team that you're usually facing because of the West Coast Conference stuff?
They are primarily focused on three-pointers and layups, so it's less of that mid-range area, which we haven't really seen before, at least so like this, I guess. So that's something that's different. But then I wouldn't say that we're we're not prepared for it. You know, like it's things that we've been doing all year. So I think we'll be okay.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Coach Fortier will be here at 2:35. Coach,
Hi,
we
how you
meet
doing?
again. It's a good thing, huh?
Who knew that Oliver Pierce had so many nice suits still? Hasn't worn one of those in a long time.
I haven't worn one in a long time.
I know.
Are we good? We have with us now the head coach of Gonzaga, Lisa Fortier. A few comments going into tomorrow, Coach?
Yeah, I'm excited. Happy for our team, how we played yesterday. Totally different game tomorrow. And, short prep time, but I'm excited. I think that both teams have challenges and strengths that areas they can be strong against each other and areas that they're going to have to work through. Hopefully we do a better job of our strengths and minimizing theirs, but I'm excited it was a good game to watch yesterday. Those are two really good teams. And so just looking forward to seeing what our team has tomorrow.
Questions for Coach?
Greg Lee at the Spokesman Review. You had some common opponents that both teams have played. You've got other things in common, but the one that's really common is Brenna Maxwell. She played at Utah. She's here. What has she been able to give you any insight knowledge about what they do, or?
I mean, we've seen them play, so she has a little bit of that. We're trying to not put it on her shoulders. We're the coaches, right? So we're supposed to figure it out. Erica played for them. Naya played for them. So we have some more commonalities than just her. But no, I mean, we haven't wanted to do that. We all know that they shoot threes and lay-ins, and she would agree to that. And she's played with some of those players. Some of them were her teammates, but she never played with Alyssa, and that's a huge part of what they're doing now. I think Jenna was a freshman her freshman year. Kennedy was there. Their point guard was there. So there's some common players there, but no, we've tried to just make it about our job. Your job is to prepare for the game how you prepare as a player, and our job is to prepare for the game how we do as coaches. That's been at least our approach to the situation. Erica's given us all the secrets.
Well, on both teams, I mean, you've got loaded with offensive players. And what do you think the game's going to boil down to? Defense? Who plays the hardest?
I mean, defense. I'm an old defensive coach who has a really good offensive team, who's constantly trying to get us to play the best defense that we can. And in the games where we've been at our best, we've been connected defensively. And I think that's partially because it's a little bit less natural to us, and so naturally we're going to usually find enough baskets. They're a good defensive team, however, but that just comes a little bit more second nature to our team. And so the defense, we have to work together. We have to communicate. We have some really good communicators. I think they understand the game plan, and so I'm always going to say that we're going to have to be connected defensively with this team in order to have great success.
Josh Furlong, KSL.com. As media, it's easy for us to see the stats and say, okay, these two teams look very similar. Do you see that? Is that something that you see, and does that help you? Or kind of what do you see in this matchup that is similar or maybe different that kind of allows you to go into this game thinking about that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we both have Alyssa and Yvonne. They're a load. I don't think anyone enjoys preparing for either of those two. Having so many weapons out there, their starting five is not dissimilar to our starting five. Everybody can shoot it. Everybody can score the ball in a variety of different ways. They play unselfish, just like us. Both teams play hard. Both teams are veteran. I think there's all those similarities. Both teams run a lot of sets. There's a lot of different actions that we can get to. Lots of ball screens in the game. So those are definitely similar. I think we approach it in a different way. I think defensively there's some strengths that we have. We're having to pick matchups. They have to pick matchups too, and figure out who they want to guard, which Trong, who they want to guard Brenna, who they want to guard Vonnie, what they're going to do with Eliza. And there's a lot of that's similar, and I think it plays into the game plan. I don't know if I'm old or young, but somewhere along the line, I've tried to stop thinking through what they're going to do and just try to focus on us, because every time I thought I was going to outthink what Paul Thomas did, he just did what he did. And I think that's how every time I'm like, oh, well, they're going to probably do this on us, and I spend all this wasted energy trying to think of what they're going to do against us versus trying to focus on how we can be strong and what our strengths are. So similarities, differences, I'm just trying to focus on how our team can best prepare for them, which hopefully we have a good game plan.
Henry Kruger, Associated Press. You mentioned Alyssa Peely earlier. You also talked about defense. How do you game plan for a player like that, and what does she do that's so special?
Well, she can shoot it and she's dominant inside. So, I mean, I'm sure she could shoot the mid-range if that's what they asked her to do. That's not what they asked her to do. But a forward who shoots that many threes, I don't know how many Eliza's shot, but Alyssa's probably shot more than Liz. She takes a lot of baskets, and she's just focus. And we see that sometimes when she draws attention, and then you have good perimeter players who are willing to pass it to their teammates, and the ball doesn't get stuck, then that causes problems for people. So defensively, you game plan the best you can. We have good individual defenders who I think can give her some different looks. Sometimes you double, sometimes you front her, sometimes you play behind her, sometimes I don't think you can settle in on any one thing with her. You got to maybe try to keep her off balance a little bit and unsure of what's coming next to slow her down. But it's a team effort, and that's how we defend best is with each other. I don't know how many great individual defenders we have. We have some, but not a team full of them. And so we're going to try to defend Alyssa as a team, just like we would try to defend Kennedy, and just like we're going to try to defend Jenna and anyone else who we have to see.
Coach Mike Boyle from Creme TV. Looking at their personnel, their scheme, do they remind you of anyone that you've played previous this year?
I don't know. I mean, I would say some similarity. They have two forwards who can be effective, and they like to go high-low. They like to pass it to each other. That's what Stanford does. The shooters, they have more shooters on the perimeter than Stanford maybe did. There's forwards who can shoot it. Cal had forwards who could shoot it. So that's something similar there. I think there's pieces here and there. Guards who love to attack. We played a lot of teams with guards who could attack the glass or get all the way to the rim, and so that's similar. So I don't know if we've played a team exactly like them, but certainly we've seen the different parts. At least maybe not all together, right? The deeper you go, the more likely you are to see players who can drive and shoot. They're not just limited players who can only play one side of the ball. They can guard also, and so I think that's what happens. The better teams you play as you get deeper into this tournament. But we've seen a little bit of each of those things, I think, at different times.
How big was the home floor for you in your opening game after the start that you had? How much did that play a factor, and how big can it be for you tomorrow?
Well, it's really fun to play in this building when it's full like that. And we see it a lot, but the student section was amazing. Our student section has been pretty good all year, but having them right there next to us, I think that fueled us. We got a couple stops, and they got behind us, which was nice because we needed those stops to start a run in the second quarter. The building was very loud, as I'm told. I don't know if I had these weird earplugs in or something. I didn't notice it, but I did notice that it gave our team a lift, and it's a special place to play with a special crowd of people who love their Zags, and it's called Hoop Town for a reason. So I'm hopeful that if we need a boost tomorrow, that it's going to feel the same way for our players.
Any other questions for Coach? No, there we go.
Cameron McCann, Gonzaga Bulletin. Coach, you've been bitten with the injury bug a little bit. But yesterday, all three of your bench players, Maud, Esther, and Claire, all I thought played and gave valuable minutes to the team. What is their role going to look like in this upcoming game against Utah?
I think the same. It's our players, as you get to this time of year, I believe, and that's why we sub how we do, even when we're healthy. We try to play a lot of players that helps them with development. Mout is a potential. Mout and Esther are going to be seniors next year. They're going to play a ton of minutes. They already are this year. Mout's the 6th player of the year, so she's been doing it all year. Claire's a freshman who's gotten herself into some opportunities that she may or may not have had we had a full roster, and she's doing great. So I think that they're valuable opportunities for those guys to improve and get experience in the NCAA tournament. But also, our players can't. We're not designed to play 40. They could do it if we had to. I just don't believe that's the right way to have a fresh team and to be effective. And so I think that hopefully similar. Hopefully they come in and give us energy. Hopefully they come in and run things how they're supposed to, defend the scout well, play tough. And, our team is better when we, again, don't get bogged down with Lenny takes all the shots and Brenna gets all the threes and Bonnie gets all the rebounds. We got to do it collectively. And so hopefully they're going to come in and give us some in all of those categories.
If the game boils down to one or two things, what do you think it'll be?
I think it's going to come down to which team makes the other team play more to their weaknesses. I think that's a big thing. So I think if we guard them and make them play to their weaknesses, then that's going to be an advantage to us. I think who can make in-game adjustments is always in a better position, and players have to make plays. You know, we have to set them up and put them in a position and see who can make the plays. And so I think a big emphasis for us is getting our players to internalize the scout in the amount of time that they have, and then do it physically. Because I think we have, like I said, we have a good game plan. We always do. But it's how connected can you be when there's adversity, and how well can you execute those things that we're trying to do.
Any other questions for Coach? Okay.
Thank you.
Good
See you
luck.
guys.